On the analogy of the Cold War, when it believes the intelligence communities of both Britain and America helped found and support organizations committed to socialism in order to divert impressionable and idealistic young people away from communism, so it can promote Islamism, Muslim Brotherhood, Saudi-backed, religious nutcases, who cares, to attract impressionable young British Muslims so that they won't join Al-Qaeda and blow us up. The idea that there is a seamless trajectory between political Islam and Al-Qaeda, that they are merely two sides of the same coin, two arms of the pincer of the jihad movement, they will not accept. It doesn't occur to them. So the government is actually promoting Islamic centers attached to every university as a means of providing an antidote to Al-Qaeda. As a result, it is very comfortable about the fact that the Saudi Arabians, that Saudi Arabia has provided to date something like £230 million sterling to fund the development of such Islamic centers and to provide Islamic studies, which the British government says, quote, is a strategically important subject in counter-radicalization, Islamic studies. Now, these Islamic studies are promoting anti-West, anti-America, anti-Israel, and anti-Jewish views. They also act as an umbrella for explicitly anti-Israel policy because they are provided in the ambit, the Islamic studies provide the overall umbrella for Middle East studies. And so, for example, at St. Antony's College, Oxford, which is a highly prestigious postgraduate college, part of the University of Oxford. Again, Professor Glees has estimated that this, their Middle Eastern Center, which is funded by Saudi Arabia, at this Middle Eastern Center, 70% of its political lectures are implacably hostile to the West and to Israel. The university authorities generally do not accept any of this. When Anthony Glees published, he's published many studies showing the extent of radicalization on campus, the extent of Saudi infiltration, funding, and so on. And for his pains, the university authorities tried to get him sacked and generally made his life a misery. At Cambridge University, a couple of students who, in their student union newsletter, published a disrespectful article about religion in general, as students will, and they republished one of the famous Muhammad cartoons, and they also published absurdly juvenile insults against Islam, against Christianity, against both Islam and Christianity. The result was that the students went into hiding. The university authorities threatened to suspend them. They called in the police. The police threatened to prosecute them. They were hounded. They were sent down. And the end of the story is that they weren't actually prosecuted, but they were forced to apologize. Who did they apologize to? They apologized to Muslims and to Islam for the insult. They apologized to Christianity for the insult. And they apologized to Jews for the insult. They didn't actually mention Jews. But nevertheless, the university authorities thought it was prudent in these times in Britain to apologize basically to every religion in the world, in case somebody might be insulted and somebody might actually do something nasty. The university simply refused to act at all. The Foreign Office invited 100 academics to bid for something like £1 million in funds to participate in a counter-radicalization program. They all refused. One of them said this would encourage, quote, encourage researchers to identify subjects and groups associated with terrorism that could be interpreted as encouraging them to become informers. We have even more a surreal situation. The government advisor on Islamic studies, Dr. Atayullah Siddiqui, is director of an institution which has links to radical Islam. The government is now working with the Federation of Student Islamic Societies, which is heavily influenced by the Jamaat Islami group and the Muslim Brotherhood, which gives a platform to extremists. The result of all this is that we have radicalization of Muslim students. A recent survey showed in Britain 32% of British Muslim students believe that killing in the name of religion is justifiable. 40% want to live under Sharia law in the United Kingdom. 18% feel little or no loyalty to the United Kingdom. 36% of young Muslims aged 16 to 24 support the death penalty for apostates, and 13% admire Al-Qaeda. And in response to this survey, the president of the National Union of Students, a gentleman by the name of Wes Streeting, said it was, quote, a reflection merely of the biases and prejudices of a right-wing think tank. This is what happens when one talks the truth in Britain about radical Islamism. One is accused of being right-wing, than which, of course, there is no greater crime and sin, and one is undermined by the British government, the British Security Service, and the British establishment, which, in not understanding and acknowledging what we are fighting against, is ceding the ground to our enemies. Thank you.